Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're going to get up close and personal with a tiny creature that has, well, been a very persistent companion to humanity for literally thousands of years, the head louse.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to use its full scientific name, Pediculus humanus capitis. The name itself, from Latin, literally translates to the human louse of the head. And using that name helps us see this creature not just as some annoying pest, but as a fascinating, highly specialized organism. It's what's known as an obligate hemophagogus ectoparasite, which, yeah, is a mouthful, but it's really just a fancy way of saying its entire existence depends on living on the outside of a host and feeding on their blood.
All right, so where do we even begin? Let's start with the absolute basics. What exactly is this parasite, and where does it fit into the grand scheme of the animal kingdom? First off, Pediculus humanus capitis is a metazoan. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means we're talking about a complex, multi-celled animal. It has intricate systems for digestion, for reproduction, for breathing, a far cry from, a simple single-celled protozoan. And it's also an ectoparasite. This is a really key detail. It means it lives entirely on the outside of its one and only host, humans. Its whole evolutionary game plan is designed for life on our skin and in our hair, not for invading our bodies from the inside. So when you put all this together, you start to see this picture emerge of a creature just perfectly adapted to living on the human scalp. It's in the order Physocadia, it's completely dependent on our blood to survive, and it even breathes in a totally different way than we do, using these tiny openings along its body called spiracles instead of lungs. Okay, so that's what they are, but how do they multiply so fast? To get that, we really need to understand their life cycle. It's the key to everything, really. How an infestation starts, and how we can stop it. Now, this is what I find pretty amazing. The entire process, from the moment an egg is laid to the point where a new adult is ready to reproduce, it all happens right there on a single human scalp. They don't need to go anywhere else. Their whole world is right there. So it all breaks down into three main stages. It kicks off with the egg, or nit, which is notoriously difficult to remove. That hatches into a nymph, think of it as a teenage louse, which then molts 3 times before it finally matures into an adult, all grown up and ready to start the cycle all over again. And here's the real kicker. This whole thing takes just a little over a month. Think about that, 32 to 35 days from egg to the end of its life. That's exactly why infestations can seem to pop up out of nowhere and get out of hand so quickly. Okay, so they multiply fast. The big question then is, how do we actually deal with an infestation? Let's take a look at the different strategies people use around the globe. All right, first things first, you have to know if you're actually dealing with an infestation. You know that classic itchy scalp? Turns out that's often an allergic reaction to the lice's saliva. But just feeling itchy isn't enough, right? You need to find some real proof. A diagnosis is really confirmed only when you find a live, moving louse. Seeing those little nits stuck to the hair is a huge sign too. For most people, the go-to method is wet combing, meticulously going through wet hair with a super fine-toothed comb. Now in a lab setting, things get even more high-tech. Scientists can even use molecular analysis to tell the genetic difference between head and body lice. And let's be really clear about this. This is not some localized problem. It's a massive, global public health challenge that affects communities absolutely everywhere. Head lice don't care about your zip code or your bank account. Wherever you find people, you can find them. And this table does a great job of showing how different places tackle the problem. So if you look at the Netherlands, for instance, their National Health Institute really emphasizes a mechanical comb and treat method first. That's partly because they're worried about growing chemical resistance. Now, compare that to international groups like the CDC. They often point you towards medicated shampoos or pedicicides as the first line of defense. But of course, this story doesn't just stop with treatment. We're in this constant kind of co-evolutionary arms race with this parasite. It's always evolving, and we're always trying to keep up. And a huge piece of that puzzle, a huge reason it's so challenging, is insecticide resistance. It's a growing problem worldwide. The very chemicals we've relied on for decades, well, they're just not working as well anymore because the lice have literally evolved to survive them. And that has really pushed research into some fascinating new areas. Scientists are now digging into the genetics, trying to map the exact mutations that let lice survive the chemicals. They're also looking into whether lice can carry other diseases, and, this is the big one, they're trying to develop totally new treatments that aren't based on those old chemicals at all. So why does all of this matter? Well, at the end of the day, understanding the science is our best weapon. When we really get the biology and the evolution of the head louse, we can move past all the unfair stigma and build smarter, more effective public health strategies to handle it. Just so you know, we put this whole explainer together using some advanced research tools. If you're a science nerd like me and want to go even deeper, we've linked a Notebook LM document with all of our sources right there in the description for you to check out.
And all of this kind of leaves us with one big lingering question, doesn't it? What's it actually going to take to finally gain the upper hand in this battle that we've been fighting for thousands of years? Will it be smarter chemicals, better tools, or something else entirely?
If you enjoyed this explainer and learned something new, we'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel for more deep dives just like this. And hey, if you've got your own stories or experiences with this topic, share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.